The Irish Hills of Brooklyn, Michigan are the next stop for the 42 DeWalt Cup Series drivers in their 2025 season. We're down to 8 in the midseason tournament, and the chase battle is thinning out as well. Speeds of over 200 miles an hour will add to the anxiety of drivers who are dealing with the pressure of the tournament and the chase fight. We'll find out who advances and who betters themselves towards the chase spot after 40 laps from the Michigan International Speedway. Welcome everyone to Michigan here on JRTV, the 18th race of the DeWalt Cup Series 2025 season. I'm Joe Arkowski, joined alongside in the booth by Vision Motorsports team owner Matthew Hubert. Great to have you in the booth, Matthew, for what should be a very fun race here at the Michigan International Speedway. Fast speeds, close racing, high-intensity racing. Oh, by the way, there's that mid-season tournament and chase spots on the line as well here today.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that will all fare out, especially with what looks like Riley Spurley and Laura Chung are starting on the same row. That's going to be a very tight one to watch, as well as that battle for 9th, 10th is closing up as well. The gap's now 12 points between Jude Marinelli and Gabe Willard. Matt Tuck's not too far behind. Maybe if he has a good string of runs, Matt Tuck might find himself inside the top 10 pretty soon.
And that's something that a driver like Eli Bright, Levi Jones, they want to see Matt Tuck jump his way in, as long as he doesn't knock out another winner, because Eli Bright, Levi Jones are currently battling for that second wildcard spot. If Matt Tuck jumps in and a non-winner falls out, then that means that's another wildcard spot that's available for Eli Bright, Levi Jones. And you need as many spots as possible, because there's still drivers outside the top 10 in points, like Philip Torres, like Chris Jericho, that could win races at any point throughout the rest of the regular season, shake up that wildcard picture, and we still have a lot of races to go before the chase, so things can change. Let's quickly go to the tournament, and some of the battles and matchups. You alluded to it. Riley Spurgeon and Laura Chung are battling. That's Laura Chung, the top seed, Riley Spurgeon, the 9th seed. They're battling, and they're starting on the front row together. Riley just edged Laura Chung for pole position here today in the American Ethanol 400, so we'll see if Riley can hang on to this track position, stay in front of Laura Chung. You have Chris Jericho and Jerry Chen battling. Jericho, the only sub-10th seed that has advanced into the Elite 8 of this tournament. Jericho starts in 30th. He's been very fast at these speedways here this season, while Jerry Chen starts in 10th place, another driver. The speedways have been his specialty this season, so that could be a very close matchup all the way down to the checker flag here today at Michigan. Nathan Stapleton and Bryce Egan are battling as well. Stapleton starts in 5th, and Bryce Egan is a good ways back. However, a fast car here at Michigan. We know Vision Motorsports has brought some fast cars, and they've had fast cars pretty much all season. Egan has to come from 21st, but this is a track where you have a fast race car. You can make it up through the field and get up towards that top 10. Then finally, Gabe Willard is battling with Brian Rodriguez. Rodriguez starts in 7th today. Willard all the way back in 20th. Not only bad for Willard in terms of the tournament, but bad for him in terms of the chase as well, because he's the one on the cut line in 10th place, while Jude Martinelli starts up inside row in 11th place. So Matthew, with these matchups and where they're starting now, what do you think we're going to see? Are we going to see all of them kind of come together? Because we do have pretty much 8 very strong drivers and teams remaining in this tournament.
Well, considering that Nathan Stapleton's starting on the inside lane, it's not sure if it's going to be a cakewalk, considering what happened at Chicagoland layoff. But RL Motorsports has really shown their stuff late. Pretty much a guarantee they'll probably lock up the owner's aisle unless something drastic happens. Although saying that, they only have like a less than 100-point gap. But to my point, they have shown really strong pace. Laura Chung in particular, I'm really impressed by her so far.
You have those top 2 Honor Island drivers. They're up there inside the top 3 in points, and each have 3 wins apiece to give Honor Island their 6 victories on the season. So, both those drivers are starting inside the top 5 again. We'll see if they can get Honor Island's 7th victory this season, and one of them to get their 4th victory of the season as well. Before we get to the green flag, you have all these big-name drivers at the front: Laura Chung, Chris Jericho, Matt Tuck, Nathan Stapleton, Brian Rodriguez. But let's focus on some big-name drivers and teams that have to come from a little bit deeper in the field than they're used to. Philip Torres is coming from 19th 19th for Otter Island Motorsports, that third Otter Island driver that's still trying to fight his way up inside the top 10 in points or get a win for a wild card. He's not in the chase at this moment. So Torres starting in 19th. We'll see if he can move his way through the field. Gabe Willard for Southern Cross Racing, a team as mentioned, they've been very strong at these speedway type racetracks. Willard has to come from. Same with Bryce Egan, 2 victories this season. Remember, he won the first intermediate of the season out in Las Vegas, then backed it up with a win at the short track in Richmond. But Vision Motorsports has been fast pretty much every track type we go to. Egan has to come from mid-pack. Same with his teammate Max Davis. Davis is above the cut line inside the top 10, but dropped a lot of points after Vancouver, so he needs a good run, has to come from 23rd. And then Keegan Thompson, he has 8 top 10s and 8 top 5s this season, but Thompson for Tucson Racing has to come all the way from 27th place on the grid. It's going to be challenging for the driver, the number 6, and as mentioned, though, passing is possible if you have a good car here, but it's not easy. We'll see multi-groove racing here today. In the middle lane at points will probably work better than the bottom of the racetrack. There's a little bit less banking down low, a little bit more banking in the middle, so that's going to produce some interesting racing. If you want to make a move down low, you're going to have to time it right to get your run through the corner to make sure you don't get stalled out. And the draft is so big here, if you don't clear that driver, you're likely going to get trained down the straightaway because everyone's going to have draft up to the outside. Well, let's get to the predictions to win this race. While Bardo put his pick in earlier, and I gained a little bit, literally just one position worth on Bardo last time out, but I did beat him. So Bardo got to pick first, and as the Gatorade starting grid starts to roll, and you can see Trey's pick, he picked Chris Jericho from 3rd place on the grid. So Matthew, let's go over to you. Who are you taking to win here today in the American Ethanol 400 here at the Michigan International Speedway?
Wow, he is starting really well. 2nd in points, and he's only 2 cars behind his teammate, Chris Jericho. Brian Rodriguez in the 62 has won a track similar in length at the season opener in Daytona, and I think he'll do well here as well.
That's not a bad pick for sure. Brian Rodriguez, he's been strong as of late as well, so I have to think that he's going to be a contender to win all throughout today. And I'm going to go just to your outside of your pick. I'm taking Levi Schoens as number 96. Galway Automotive as a whole, they haven't been one of those top-tier teams, one of those top 3 teams. However, they've been battling with EK Enterprises for 4th place in terms of the owner standings. And this Galway Automotive team, they seem to specialize in tracks like this, long straightaways, fast speeds. They won at Texas World, the other 2-mile track we went to so far this season with Levi Schoens. They won at Pensacola with Jack Haas. They ran well at Pocono with some of their drivers. So I think Levi starting in 8th place. He's on the outside. It could be good for him. Once we get down to turns 3 and 4 in the first lap, we'll have to see, can Levi Schoens get up there and try and challenge those big-name teams to try and win here today at Michigan. You also have to give a shout out to Matthew Burnett. He starts in 6th today for Meme Motorsports. Mathis Wells starts in 9th for Atlanta Motorsports. Joshua Cox in 12th for Ace Motorsports. And even some more meme guys back there. Eli Bright starts in 13th, William Simon in 17th. So some different teams starting at the front. Can they keep that track position is the question. The fuel window today in this 40-lap race is about 22 to 25 laps. Let's see how it plays out here today at Michigan. We're expecting about 1 second of tire fall off. The green flag is waving in the wind. Riley Street's on the gas, and we're underway in the 18th race of the DeWalt Cup Series season. Already 3 wide moves being made. Eli Bright and Justin Zidell being aggressive. Bright trying to move his way up inside the top 10. Now here's where we get to the bottom of turns 3 and 4. Look at Laura Chung on lap 1 getting aggressive, trying to shoot the middle between Jericho and Spurley Tube. Can't quite get it done. Riley maintains the top side. Jericho on the bottom, they're side by side, but Riley Spurley Tube leads the first lap here from Michigan. So those are some, that's a point there as well. He got points for a pole position. Now he gets a point for leading lap. That's big because he's one of those drivers just inside the top 10 in points. He slips wide, Chung to the middle, and Jericho to the bottom. Clears and takes the lead away. Matt Tuck 3 wide down low off turn 2.
They are really getting antsy right there. And Chris Jericho leading again. Surprised that he hadn't got a win considering how many times he got screwed out. Really great. I remember Coke 600 and Richmond in particular. Races that he probably should have got better results than he would have. Matt Tuck as well. Although Tuck now got up to 12th in points, only 28 back. It's not likely Jericho's going to make it off of the top 10, but I could definitely see him doing that off of a wild card if Levi Jones, for instance, doesn't get a second win on this season.
Yeah, that's big. The amount of wins as well factors into that wild card, so those drivers have to watch out for that. But Jericho pulling away, Riley Spirit to been second, Lord Chung in third. Bomb lane not working for Levi Jones and Matt Tuck. Drew Martinelli's going to try it on Mathis Wells, as Matthew Burnett's done nicely to hold serve up inside the top 5. As well, you can see Gabe Willer back there. He started in 20th. He's trying to make some big moves down low. He's moved up 3 spots since the drop of the green flag up to 17th, but needs some more because his contender up there, Brian Rodriguez, is running well. As you can see, the pack already starting to string out a little bit as the faster guys start to pull the top away. Mathis Wells did not get off turn too well. He drops back behind Matt Tuck and Brian Rodriguez. Nathan Stapleton on the top side trying to get back by Jude Martinelli. Levi Jones way up the track, nearly into the wall, had to check up. Stapleton nearly got to the back of him. Martinelli down low on both of those guys as the battle for second and battle between these two in terms of the midseason tournament is on. Riley Spiritu has the position. Lord Chung trying to take it away. And just behind them, Jerry Chen is trying to get up to 4th place, try and close down in his midseason tournament battle between himself and Chris Jericho.
And top 4 is in the midseason tournament here. Imagine if Riley Spiritu can actually hold on and beat Lord Chung in the mid-season tournament. Considering how he almost won Pocono, got that taken away by our own car, he probably does not want that to happen again. And Chris Jericho, ahead of Jerry Chen, only by 3 car lengths or so. It's been a very rough season for him. Hopefully he can finally turn it around. Drew Marineri's up to 5th. That's going to be important for the point standings and if he can make the chase or not. And shout out to Matthew Burnett. He's holding on to 6th right now. Having Levi Jones, they're battling there for 6th and 7th. And Stapleton has a comfortable gap to Bryce Egan in their tournament.
It's starting to close in, though. There are some drivers that are moving their way through the field. Gabe Willard's moved up to 14th. Bryce Egan up to 15th with them. So those are drivers that have gained about 6 positions each since the drop of the green flag. Martinelli's on a flyer at this stage. He's just moved up to 4th place by Jerry Chen and gaining on the side-by-side battle in front of him. Here comes Laura Chung to the inside. She's going to push. Maybe Martinelli's going to try and shoot the middle right there. I think he was thinking about it, but he kind of lifted out of the gas. Said maybe not quite at this stage in the race. We're only on lap number 8 as Chung has the bottom. Spirotube is up top, and Laura Chung might finally complete that pass on her midseason tournament rival, Riley Spirotube, and she does. So Chung up to 2nd place. Martinelli's going to get in line in 3rd. So bad set of corners for Riley Spirotube. Drops in 2 spots, but it's Chung, Martinelli to 2nd and 3rd. They'll try and run down the number 54 of Chris Jericho, who still leads here at Michigan. Now Riley under fire from Jerry Chen for 4th place. So the 28 start on pole, led the first lap, and now he's starting to fade off a little bit as we get further into this run. Maybe that car, not quite a long run car, more of a short run car, and he's starting to pay the price. Here's the battle for 6th. Matt Tuck, your driver, is trying to move his way up by Matthew Burnett for that position, and it looks like he has a strong enough car. I think he's going to easily complete this pass down low, and does. So Matt Tuck up to 6th. Now he has to hope he can get a sniff of that top 5 draft and close in, because he has a fast enough car, it looks like, at this stage to go up there and compete. And how about Bryce Egan? He sees Nathan Stapleton not too far at the road. In fact, he's trying to pass Brian Rodriguez right there. Egan is moving up nicely here, and he's putting himself in play for the later part of this race for him to try and get there, get to Nathan Stapleton and eliminate that Otter Island car out of contention.
It's going to be a tall mountain to climb, especially if pit cycle plays into factor. However, Chung is catching on that 54. RL Motorsports, not there. What else is there to say about RL that hasn't been said already? 6 wins already out of 17. Chung's trying to make it 7 out of 18, which is an impressive stat for any team, let alone Bang Watson. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, considering how well he is in the owner sides of things. Matt Tuck's not doing too badly there, up to 6. Any point given.
And Matt Tuck doing a good job there in 6th place. Matthew Burnett still hanging tough inside the top 10 and 7th, and so is Mathis Wells for Atlanta Motorsports. So those are 2 drivers, Burnett, Mathis Wells. They haven't had the best of seasons, having really good runs today, though, trying to keep their track position. You can see Bryce Egan right there trying to get aggressive. Get to 11th by Brian Rodriguez and trying to get to 10th by Mathis Wells. It's crucial to, I think, complete this pass right here this lap or the next lap. Nathan Stapleton's up there trying to get further away, trying to get a car between himself and Bryce Egan. It looks like the 18 doesn't have to run to make it work. 3 wide further back. DeLello was nearly up top 3 as Brian Rodriguez has slipped all the way back to his challenger Gabe Willard. So it's not been a good run of the race for Rodriguez. It's been a good run so far for Gabe Willard. While Rodriguez has dropped from 7th now down to 13th, so he's lost 6 spots. Gabe Willard's gained 6 spots, and they've come right together here about the mid-teens. So there's a battle there between those two. Still a battle between Laura Chung and Riley Spurtube. And, Chris Jericho, Jerry Chen aren't too far away from each other. And Bryce Egan is up alongside Nathan Stapleton. So all 4 of the battles have found each other right together as we're nearing the midway point of this race.
I'm hoping that this battle here between Egan and Stapleton ends up like the one they had at Richmond, which was cinema, and not ones that I don't want to really talk about there. Now, like I was trying to say about Matt Tuck, every point matters here. He has 28 points to gain on 10th place Gabe Willard, and he's doing a pretty decent job, up to 6th. About a second between him and Jerry Chen to get inside the top 5. G. Marinelli as well. He only has 12 points between himself and Gabe Willard. Willard's just outside the top 10 though. It's going to be very tight here. Bryce Egan now trying to pass Matthew Burnett for 7th. I have to give it to Matthew Burnett for holding out for as long as he has. Mathis Wells as well. Those teams definitely need a run like this.
Yes, they do, and they're getting it today. Even if it's not quite the finish, maybe towards the end of this race, if they keep falling back, they still have shown that they have the speed to run up with these big-name teams and drivers. And, for Matthew Burnett to be able to hold off drivers like Egan, Stapleton, even Brian Rodriguez, as we're 14 laps into this race, that is just something to look forward to for the rest of the season. Say we are making some progress. We're closing a little bit on the big teams. Bryce Egan looks like he will complete that pass for 7th. Maybe not quite clear, but I think down here in 3 and 4 he should have enough of a run to get it to work, and he does. So Bryce Egan up to 7th. Remember, he started all the way back in 21st, and we're not even halfway through. He's gained a bunch of spots already. He's moving up nicely through the field. Here's a battle between Jerry Chen and Riley Spurtube. Riley had 4th. Chen takes 4th away from the driver of the 20, but Riley trying to come back at him. That's allowed Matt Tuck to close in a little bit on those two. He's getting a nice draft because they're side by side. But it's Jericho, Chung, Martinelli there trying to pull away from the rest of the field. In fact, these front 6, they've pulled a 3-second gap. 6th place Matt Tuck is 3 seconds up on his teammate Bryce Egan. Levi Schoen still playing fits with Nathan Stapleton, kind of hurting him in terms of trying to catch up to Bryce Egan. But Matthew, we're coming up towards pit cycles here. We're about, give or take, 7, 8 laps away from starting the pit cycles. And the question is, when do you want to pit? Do you want to undercut? Do you want to overcut? The lap time fall off here isn't all that crazy, but it is enough. 1 second to 1 1/4 seconds. So there is enough lap time fall off to make a difference on tires. The question is, do they wear fast enough to where an undercut will maybe hurt, or will an undercut just be so powerful, getting that second lap better tires that you can pull away? I think it's going to be fascinating to see what these teams play, especially if you're in one of those mid-season tournament battles.
If there's a prime number I could use to figure out when you want to pit, it would probably around 23. The tires aren't worn enough, but you have a good enough advantage from the guys who could pit on 22 or earlier, perhaps. So that could be interesting to see if guys like Rodriguez, for instance, Gabe Willard, or Riley Spurtube might use that to their advantage later on.
Yeah, I think these front 6, they're all close enough to where if one of them pits maybe a lap sooner and some other guys have some issues on pit road, maybe, Matt Tuck could cycle as the leader here. In fact, Matt Tuck's trying to make a pass of his own on Riley Spurtube for 5th place. So the pit stops could definitely jumble up the running order. The one thing that we know for certain is that these front six, they probably can't get undercut on pit road with how far ahead they pulled, as Bryce Egan is now 4 seconds behind this battle for 5th place between Riley Bridgman and Matt Tuck. So these front six, they have the fastest race cars of the day. Riley Bridgman is starting to lose touch to Laura Chung, and Jerry Chen starting to lose touch to Chris Jericho. You have to wonder, will those two drivers dare make a move to pit road early to try and get that track position back, close back in on their rivals in terms of the mid-season tournament? See back there, Nathan Stapleton trying to make a pass on Matthew Burnett, but he got a little tight through the middle of the corner. Meanwhile, Gabe Willard is trying to keep touch with Brian Rodriguez, as Rodriguez had passed Matt as well as the 39 starting to fall off at this stage in the race. See Gabe Willard going around. Good run through the field for Jordan Stout. He started pretty deep in the field. And here he is going for 15th on a Galway Automotive car, Jack Haas. So good run for that Ace Motorsports driver, Jordan Stout. We saw Joshua Cox start inside the top dozen. He's dropped down a good ways, down to 29th, while Jordan Stout has risen to the occasion. He just got to 14th by Matt as well. So this Ace Motorsports driver and car looks pretty good at this stage as we're nearing pit stops here, Matthew.
Yeah, we almost looked like Gabe Willard was trying to come in a bit earlier, but yeah, Jordan Stout hasn't been too bad, actually. Just inside the top 20. Don't think he's going to make the chase and all, but a good enough effort for Brett Sierra's team. Not much highlights for anyone else. Tim Gary, we probably know how bad his luck has been, apart from a few top 10s. But besides that, yeah.
Here's a battle for 5th. Riley Spraywood to Matt Tuck still going at it. Matt Tuck looking low on corner exit. Riley's going to get some draft, it looks like, from Jerry Chen, while the front three stayed the same. Jericho's led all but the first lap so far here today at the Michigan International Speedway. Lord Chung and Drew Martinelli are keeping him honest, though, right there. And we know pit stops should be starting at any moment now. We're 21 laps in, so Jericho's now led 20 of those 21 laps. So he's definitely going to get another most laps led race onto his resume. So that's now 5 races this season. He's led the most laps, but in the prior 4, his average finish is 27.75 and best finish of 15th at Texas. So Jericho wants to try and break the trend of that here today at Michigan. None of the front 6 are pitting. We'll see Bryce Egan in 7th. He's kind of pulled away a little bit from the battle. He's kind of pulling Levi Jones and the rest away, but so far we're 22 laps in at the line. No one making the move to pit road. Everyone staying steady for now. They don't want to get caught out by a caution flag, and with these tires being worn, you can see right there, Hernandez kind of slipped up, nearly got into the wall, and Johnny Cox nearly got into him as well. Some guys are off the pace at the back of the field. Jerry Chen, Riley Spraywood, and Matt Tucker losing a lot of time to the front 3. You have to think that if the leaders don't pit this time, that they may want to decide. But now I think Jericho's going to lead them in. So from the lead, Jericho's going to come in. Martinelli wants a bonus point, so he's going to stay on lead a lap. Crucial to try and get inside the top 10. Here come 5 of the top 6, though, in. Here come a lot of guys in. So, Matthew, the pit cycle has started, and we're getting some overcuts and some undercuts here.
Yeah, and considering that Chris Jericho's leading, not sure what's going to jinx him from getting the race win this time round. But G. Martinelli staying out an extra lap. Like I mentioned, Richmond being a crucial race there, Martinelli was one of the top cars in that race until a poor pit strategy there. He's coming in this time by, so is Burnett or Rodriguez, and then everyone else.
Oh.
Ludovic Charette staying out an extra lap.
Oh.
That's gonna be a bold strategy. Same with Cameron Jr. and Tyler Baldana.
Oh, look at the stop for Jericho. Laura Chung had a kind of a slow stop, and Riley Spraywood had a little bit of a slow stop too. Riley's back with Bryce Egan now.
Wow. Must have been a slow pit stop there for 28, and tough break there for Riley Spraywood to losing out to an IRN car yet again. It must hurt for that guy.
Here comes
and
Ludovic. Ludovic's going to come into pit road.
Ludovic was just outside the top 20. Not sure where she's going to land there. But massive lead there for Chris Jericho. Martinelli, not sure if he's going to overtake Chung. No, Jerry Chen is actually going to overtake both of them.
Yeah, wow. So how about Jerry Chen there? He's battling with Jericho in that midseason tournament. So he needs to try and get up there and catch Jericho. The problem is Jericho has such a big lead. Is that going to be possible? If these drivers, these second, third, fourth place drivers, if they get into a draft, it could be possible to run down, down the straightaways. Could run so much faster that you do run down. So between Jericho and Chen, the margin is about 2.4 seconds. So we'll see if that comes down over the course of these next few laps. And remember, Drew Martinelli back there has a lap fresher tires. Will that make a difference in the grand scheme of things? I just don't know. So that's going to be, Martinelli's going to be fourth. Matt Took now fifth. Bryce Egan up to sixth. You have to give major props to this Vision Motorsports driver for the march through the field he's put on and gotten away from Nathan Stapleton as well. Sprigg Tip's going to be seventh. Levi Shones in eighth. Gabe Willard in ninth. He's gotten away from Brian Rodriguez as Matthew Burnett's now 10th. Rodriguez is 11th, Stapleton 12th. They both have to get up to their rivals in the midseason tournament as the gap at the front is 2.3 seconds now between Jericho and Jerry Chen. Zachary DeLello is just outside the top 10 as well in the 55. He's running in the 13th position. Crown Jr. 14th, Jack Haas in 15th. Jacob Miller, haven't called his name today. He's in 16th. Mathis Wells back to 17th, still a solid day. Nathan Strickland, not what he needed in terms of trying to get inside the top 10 in points. Ludovic Charette, her strategy's kind of played out, I think. She had a clean pit road, so she got in and out in an efficient manner. She's now up inside the top 20 and on the freshest tires, as Keegan Thompson, for the first time today, going to break inside the top 20 again by Philip Torres. Tim Gary in 22nd. They have Stan Vitale. Max Davis has had a kind of a quiet day, kind of shocking. His teammate Bryce Egan moved up through the field nicely, and he's just not been able to in that number 16 car. Zidell even back here his home race. Eli Bright has dropped from his starting position, and Jordan Stout's really dropped. He was about 15th before pit stops. Now he's back in 29th as the rest of the field here and the field strung out the back. Joshua Cox, remember, he started 12th. He's all the way down to 40th now. And Robert Ashford and Noah Brady about to go a lap down. But the gap at the front coming down a little bit lap after lap, Matthew. It was 2.4 seconds. It's down to 2.1 now between Jericho and Jerry Chen. But Jericho also has some draft that he's getting from that number 51. So these laps where he's behind the 51 closing in on him actually going to help him in sort of keeping that gap because he has a car to draft off of, which, the two behind, they have draft two, but it's the same, just two cars.
Oh boy. If I had a nickel for every time Jericho was behind Noah Brady to lap him, I would probably have 2 nickels right now. Thank goodness it's much cleaner than the last time that happened.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Sorry to mention that, Chris Jericho, if you're watching this. Gap's still about 2.1 seconds. Not sure how Chung and Jerry Chen, if they're going to hang out there. Rodriguez now getting past Gabe Willard for 9th position, passing Levi Shones as well from 8th. Bump there from Nathan Stapleton, and that's going to put Burnett outside the top 10.
This is a great battle here. 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, and why it's so great is that 2 of them are battling for that midseason tournament. Rodriguez trying to keep himself in. Gabe Willard trying to keep himself in as well. The gap at the front down to under 2 seconds, but with 10 laps to go, can Chen and Chung gain enough to catch up? Rodriguez now has 2 cars reaching himself and Gabe Willard, and the 27 dropping off a little bit. So 62, maybe they made some adjustments, took him a little bit to get going. Now that he's on it, maybe he can pull away now from Gabe Willard. Nathan Stapleton needs a lot to go wrong to Bryce Egan. He's a good ways back, 3 seconds back of Bryce Egan, and that number 18 has been one of the faster cars here today, even though he started all the way back in 21st. He's marched up, and he could get a top 5 from his teammate Matt Tuck here, because that number 11 is growing larger out that windshield, and oh boy, the gap at the front is coming down. Jerry Chen closed in by about 3/10 of that lap with 9 laps to go. So Jerry Chen, Laura Chung, they might have a shot at it. Why could this be so important? Because Chris Jericho and Jerry Chen are battling for that midseason tournament, and could it come down to the wire between those two, not only to advance through into the Final Four, but also for the race victory, Matthew?
Yeah, and this is the first time in a while we've seen Jerry Chen up to this level of performance there. You would think almost won Las Vegas, won Texas, both of which he started below 30th, as Tuck and Egan are right next to each other again.
We've seen that too many times.
Please, guys. Please, guys. Please, keep it together.
Egan down low.
Thank
Matt
God.
Tuck, is he going to let him go? I mean, if these guys sort it out, they could maybe both get Jude Martinelli. The 94, I think, made the wrong adjustments on pit road because he's dropped way off the lead. Now he's dropped back to this battle right here. There could be a battle 4th, 5th, and 6th. But these Vision Motorsports guys, they've run into each other one too many times this season. So I think neither one wants to give in quite yet. You can see Matt Tuck really driving in hard on the top side. Egan was trying to let it float in there. And they're going to stay side by side again for another lap. The gap at the front is down to 1 second between Jericho and Jerry Chen, with Laura Chung right there as well behind in case the front two tangle. These two Vision Motorsports teammates will settle it for now, maybe not quite. Here comes Egan looking back to the inside with 7 laps to go. There's battles all over this racetrack. Let's look back in on Rodriguez, who's moved up to 8th by Levi Schoens. Nathan Stapleton right with him. And Gabe Willard is watching that 62 grow further and further away out of his windshield. He needs something to happen. He needs Stapleton to really battle that number 62, but Nathan needs to get up to Bryce Egan. It's just not happening for him, so that's going to be a battle right there between those two. Gap at the front with 6 laps to go, down to 0.8 of a second, so they're gaining enough, and they could be there by the time the checker flag falls. Great battle for 4th. Martinelli, Tuck, and Egan under a blanket into turns 1 and 2. Bryce Egan might try and get a 2-for-1 deal through turns 1 and 2.
I'm not sure if he's going to make it stick because Tuck has the 94 as a bumper, and we just now get into this leap out there. It's 0.8 of a second between Jericho and Chen. Jericho definitely needs this win more than Jerry Chen, but we'll see how this last time by goes. Oh boy, it's half a second.
Half a second.
Half a second gap.
And look what's happening back here. You have Egan and Tuck still side by side with Martinelli trying to hold them at bay because Jude needs as many points as he gets. Look at Egan trying to shoot the middle there through turns 1 and 2. He couldn't do it, but he'll get by Matt Tuck for 5th. Now a shot for 4th on Jude Martinelli. Back up to the lead. Chen is closing in. As you mentioned, this could be a huge win for Chris Jericho here in this season. It could really mix up the wild card race as well because it's been Matt Tuck, Eli Bright, the 2 wild cards so much this season. If Jericho wins, he immediately throws his name in as a favorite for a wild card spot. And with 4 laps to go, he has the lead, but Chen is closing in.
Oh.
Those yellow spoilers are going to come together at the checker flag, and who knows who's going to come out on top, Matthew?
Oh boy, it's down to 1/4 of a second. These last 3 laps are going to be cinema here. Jerry Chen right on the back bumper of Chris Jericho, and Lord Chung not too far behind him. This is going to be fun to see here. Don't think they're going to catch up to the lap car of Robert Ashford there in the OC Racing 58. 3 laps to go. Chen's not making his move yet, but he's closing and closing and closing in on that 54.
Oh.
And here we go, down to the outside, off of 2.
Oh, he got right to the back bumper. Jericho running just a little bit lower. He got maybe some clean air on the nose. Now he's on the bumper. Jericho coming back to 2 laps to go. This is a battle not only for a race victory, but to advance through to the final 4 as well. Jericho versus Chen for the win in the American Ethanol 400 to come down right to the wire here at the Michigan International Speedway. 4 miles, 2 laps to go, about a car length between them, and the fans are on their feet here at the virtual Michigan International Speedway. Battle for 5th and 4th is still ongoing between Egan, Martinelli, and Tuck. Egan gets 4th away from Martinelli. Chen again runs lower and gets right to the bumper of Jericho up the backstretch, but no closer. Pushing Jericho up the back. White flag this time by at Michigan.
Oh boy, this reminds me a lot of Las Vegas there. Not because my driver won. It was because Jerry Chen rather, was in a pretty similar situation to this as we go through for the white flag. Can Chris Jericho hold on?
Oh, this is going to be intense. Down into turns 1 and 2. Jerry Chen needs to get close enough for a move in turns 3 and 4 in the last lap. Ashford is ahead. Maybe giving some draft to Jericho could help him up this back straightaway for the final time. Jericho leads, looking for his first ever win in the DeWalt Cup Series. Chen looking for his first since Texas. Both these drivers need to beat the other to advance through into the final 4 round. Jericho runs a little bit higher. Chen looks lower through turns 3 and 4. He gets a nose down to the inside of Jericho. Here they come to the checker flag for the win and to advance through Michigan. Chris Jericho holds on to do it.
He has finally won after all this time.
And it looks like
Great job.
Rodriguez held on over Gabe Willard. Egan held on over Nathan Stapleton. Laura Chung held on over Riley Spurley-Tube. And Chris Jericho just held on over Jerry Chen. What a race. What a finish between those two. And you have to give props, Matthew, to Jerry Chen. He kept it clean. He tried his best, but he kept it clean at the checkered flag.
Man, that was an exciting race to the finisher. I almost thought Chen would have gotten there, but he didn't have the help from Laura Chung that he had for most of the remaining race. But props to Chris Jericho. He finally got a win after all the heartbreak he has been through these past few weeks.
Does that make someone like you nervous that now he finally got that monkey off his back? Is this going to be like the floodgates opening for Chris Jericho? Could he possibly go and win, who knows, the next however many races, right? He's been strong pretty much everywhere.
I'm not sure if Matt Tuck's performance as of late is anything to go off of. We might see a resurgence for Chris Jericho.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be fascinating to watch now, and especially in terms of the wild card race, right? That's now another name thrown in to that wild card matchup, and Eli Bright, Levi Shones, they got to be sweating now, and they have to hope that someone like Matt Tuck can jump in and knock a non-winner out. So that's going to be it's going to be fascinating to watch over the last few regular season races that we have left, and I think that these next two races, Martinsville and then at Atlanta to crown a mid-season champion, that's going to be fun as well to see how that plays out. So a crazy race at Michigan. Let's now go check out the finishing results and the bracket and how all the points look after the 18th race of the season. So here's how they finished in the American Ethanol 400 at the Michigan International Speedway. Chris Jericho finally broke through and won in the 18th DeWalt Cup Series race. It was by less than a tenth. Jerry Chen gave him a run, but Chen has to help for a second, but still one of Jerry Chen's better runs as of late in the DeWalt Cup Series. Laura Chung continues her very consistent stretch. She ends up in third here today. Bryce Egan, what a drive. He started all the way back in 21st. He gained 17 spots to get to fourth, and Matt Tuck right behind him inside the top five. Drew Martinelli, very good points today for him, moves himself within single-digit points of the top 10 now in sixth. Riley Spurley-Tube maintains a good points gap in seventh. Remember, he got pole position as well. That's a few points his way there. Brian Rodriguez ends up in eighth. Nathan Stapleton, kind of an off day. It's crazy to say that an off day is ninth place, but it was for Nathan. And top 10 goes to Levi Shones in the number 96. So solid days there. And unfortunately for Gabe Willard, 12th place wasn't good enough for him to advance through. And that was really the worst of the drivers that was in that midseason tournament. Good recovery for Crown Jr. Didn't really have all that much speed at the beginning portion of the race, but had it at the end. Keegan Thompson definitely had his better run of the race with a 15th place finish there at the end. Philip Torres, Max Davis about where they started. Davis a little bit further up in 19th from where he started. Mathis Wells dropped down to 21st. Remember, Ludovic Charette played the strategy of staying out longer. She ends up in 23rd, so kind of a mediocre day. Remember, Jordan Stout fell back on pit road. He gained some back, so did Eli Bright, but they ended up 24th and 25th. Definitely a lot worse than how they were running before pit cycle started. Hometown hero Justin Zeidel, not the day he was looking for, in 31st place. All the way down, Joshua Cox finished 38th. He started in 12th here today, so just not the race car that Joshua Cox needed. And then only car lap down was Noah Brady. Robert Ashford nearly fell a lap down at the checkered flag, but he settled right in front of Jericho when the checkered flag fell. Now we look at the tournament, how the bracket looks, with now 4 drivers left for a battle at Martinsville. It's going to be Laura Chung versus Chris Jericho, and then Bryce Egan versus Brian Rodriguez. Those are going to be some really good matchups there, you have to assume. Now we look at the driver points. 18 races into the season. Nathan Stapleton still holds on, but the two behind are right behind him. Rodriguez is only 5 points back in second, and Laura Chung only 6 points back in third. There's a tie for fourth between Bryce Egan and Jerry Chen. Egan with 2 wins gets the tiebreaker over Chen there. Jack Haas a good distance back in sixth, still decently safe at this moment to try and make it into the chase. But then 7th down to 11th, they're separated by just about 16 points. It's Spurley-Tube 7th, Thompson 8th, Davis 9th, Willard in 10th. Jude Martinelli just 5 points behind Willard to move up inside the top 10. So any one of those drivers could shuffle around inside the top 10. Matt Tuck is closing in only 21 points back. That's big because right now he is taking up a wildcard spot. Crown Jr. a good distance back along with Lathan Strickland, Phil Vittori's. Chris Jericho with the win moves him up to 16th in points and into the second wildcard spot. He has it by only 11 points though over Eli Bright, and Levi Jones is only 20 points behind Eli Bright. So imagine if Matt Tuck were to jump in, knock a non-winner out, then you have Jericho, and then Eli Bright and Levi Jones are bound for that second wildcard spot. It's going to be fascinating to see how the rest of this regular season plays out in terms of the wildcard. And in terms of the top 10, that's now very close as well. Now the team points. Otter Island still continues to lead, but it's by less than 100 points. Vision Motorsports is close enough that they can pounce if Otter Island does have an off day. Tucson Racing only 6 points behind Vision for second in the team points. That's a way big a huge gap back to fourth place. Galway Automotive, they only have that by 7 points over EKH Enterprises. Fos Autosport had a pretty decent day, all things considered. They've pulled away a little bit from Southern Cross Racing, but that's still very close as well. Just 8 points separate them, and they've closed in a little bit on that battle for fourth. And we look down at the rest of the team points. So, Matthew, final thoughts from what was a calm, in terms of no caution race here at Michigan, but it was pretty crazy, especially some of the battles that we saw throughout the race.
Well, they started out with going 3 wide, almost saw 4 wide there at the very start, but they got strung out there, and the draft was really key to how this race played out, especially at the top 3 there. Chen and Chung were really close to toppling Chris Jericho, who almost got denied a win yet again. And thankfully for his sake, he didn't have that happen to him, and he finally gets to call himself a winner in the DeWalt Cup Series.
And not only a winner, but a dominant winner. 36 of the 40 laps led here today for Chris Jericho. He had the fastest car. He got out front, and he really never looked back. And Jerry Chen tried his best at the checkered flag to steal that win from Chris Jericho, but he came up just a tenth short, less than a tenth short at the checkered flag. So we'll look forward to the next 2 races on the DeWalt Cup Series schedule because they will end out the mid-season tournament, and there are going to be some crazy ones. Night racing at Martinsville next Sunday night on JRTV. That's going to be fun at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And then 2 weeks' time, we're going to have a Friday night, July 4th race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway to crown a mid-season tournament champion. So we have some fun night races coming up for you guys right here on JRTV, and Martinsville, Atlanta are going to be quite the races to determine who makes it through into the final round, and then which of those final 2 is the victor in the mid-season tournament. I have to thank Matthew Hubert, Vision Motorsports team owner, for coming up here and commentating the race with me while Trey was off for this week. And maybe we'll have Matthew back up here a couple more times throughout the rest of the season if all things kind of line up well. So congratulations today for Chris Jericho and team owner Tuki Toussaint on a win in the American Ethanol 400 at the Michigan International Speedway. For Matthew Hubert, I'm Joe Rakowski. So long from Michigan.